Hey Cal fans, Burke18 here with a football film study on California Golden blogs. Last week I did a video and a write-up of our defense against Washington, and one of the posters on my Patreon site asked an interesting question. He asked, how is it that our D matched up so well against Washington's offense, but then struggled against a team like UCLA? This question is especially relevant after our great defensive performance against Washington State on Saturday. How is it possible that we can hold a great Cougar offense to less than 20 points just a few weeks after we got walked all over by one of the worst offenses in the conference? To address this, in this video, I'm going to look at what went wrong against UCLA, and I'm going to point out some trends that might predict what we will and won't struggle against on defense. The most important play in Chip Kelly's offense is the inside zone play. This is a play that Washington struggled to run all night against us, but UCLA had a ton of success with it, and so this is a good place to start our comparison. Let's start by looking at this play, where UCLA has 3 receivers to the left of the formation and 1 tight end to the right. On this play, the offensive line is zone blocking to the left, or away from that tight end, and as we run the play forward, we see both the defensive end and inside linebacker here getting locked up, allowing the running back to outflank them both for a nice gain. So, why did this happen? When you look at this play, you see that we're running a small 3-4 front with 3 down linemen and Rambo playing as a hybrid outside linebacker or nickelback. As we see here, in this front, our defensive end's playing with a slight inside shade on the offensive tackle. In many cases, in a 3-4 like this, we'd have an outside linebacker lined up outside of that tackle, but in this formation, UCLA has placed 3 receivers to the same side of the field, and that's going to pull our linebackers to that side out of the box and into coverage to match them, leaving the defensive end and inside linebacker essentially alone. Now, on this play, the defensive end actually does a pretty good job of not getting cut off from the outside, but because he already started the play so far to the inside, the running back's going to be able to outflank him easily while he's locked up with the offensive tackle. We can imagine that if he'd instead started the play lined up a yard or 2 to the outside of that tackle, then this wouldn't have happened. And so what we're seeing here is that in our base 3-4 front, with our outside linebacker walked out of the box like this, we're left with a very soft edge against the run. To remedy this, we switched from our small 3-4 front to more of a true nickel front. In this front, we replace our nose tackle with a nickelback and play with a 4-man line, where our defensive ends move inside and our outside linebackers play like stand-up defensive ends. As you can see here, in this front, our outside linebackers are playing well outside of their blockers, and so this is going to eliminate that soft edge from the last play. What we see in this front, however, is that UCLA now has 3 blockers to the right of center, and we only have 3 defenders to match them. This wasn't true in the 3-4 front because we had a nose tackle over the center who could help out to the tight end side, and so we've strengthened up the edges here, but we've pulled our line away from the tight end in order to do so, and that's going to lead to plays like this. Watch here as the right guard and right tackle combo block from the defensive tackle up to the inside linebacker, while the tight end kicks out the outside linebacker and the quarterback takes that inside lane. When we look at this play pre-snap, something else that we should notice is that our cornerback isn't going to be a factor in the box just because of his deep alignment. One way that we could solve the numbers problem that we just saw would be to change our coverage in order to get him into the box, and that's something that we did try on some occasions. Here you can see that with our cornerback brought down to the edge, we've now got 4 defenders to the right of center, while UCLA only has 3 blockers. This, however, is where UCLA hit us with the quarterback keeper on the zone read, and as we run this forward, we can see the defensive end crashing down inside for the running back. Now, conventional wisdom about the zone read here would say that this is a mistake on his part, but with the way that we defend the run, I actually don't think that it is, and you can see that the run fits here have put our inside linebacker in a great position to take the quarterback. The real problem, therefore, comes from the cornerback jumping down inside of his man and getting sealed off from the edge, or maybe from this safety taking a bad angle to the quarterback. Either way, we're having trouble defending this zone read play. The big takeaway here is that both of those last 2 plays worked because UCLA was able to use their mobility at quarterback on the zone read. And this is obviously a capability that we saw in another game where our defense struggled against Oregon and Justin Herbert, and I would wager that if Khalil Tate wouldn't have been injured against Arizona, we would have struggled in that game too. Now, these are the same kinds of offenses that gave us trouble last year, where Colorado, Arizona, Oregon, and North Carolina all rushed for more yards and higher averages than quote-unquote better offenses like Washington, USC, and Washington State. What this UCLA game shows me, therefore, is that we still haven't figured out a good way to defend these offenses, and so I'll be on the lookout for us to potentially struggle once again with Colorado, but to do much better against USC and Stanford. Alright, that's it for this week's video. If you want to check out my full write-up of the Cal defense against UCLA, head on over to patreon.com/Burke18, where I'll be posting that later this week. But otherwise, go Bears and beat the Trojans.